Hallo iedereen, welcome. We're just still gonna wait for 1 more minute for everyone to join. I'm so glad that you all decided to join today. It's 6 o'clock. Okay, so welcome to my Dutch class. In this class, we're going to be discussing my 4 secret techniques to Dutch fluency, and to test out that you can all hear me and that you can find the chat. I'm going to be asking you a question. And my question is, waar kom je vandaan? Van waar kom je? So where are you from? Share it with me in the chat. And I'm excited to know where everyone is coming from. So I'm seeing some people from India, Ireland, Duitsland, Philippines. Whoa, there are a lot of people. Okay. A lot of different places. I cannot follow the chat anymore. From Netherlands, I see. So a lot of people coming from signing up from Belgium and the Netherlands, Egypt. Okay, Albania. Also, okay, I see a lot of places. Welcome, everyone. So today, at the end of this presentation today, you are going to be ready to master Dutch more effectively and with fun. So this is the goal of today's class. And I see that some people are already drawing on my screen. If you could not do that, that would be amazing. Thank you. So some practical information. I would say take a pen and paper, put away your phone, and get rid of all distractions, because we're gonna share a lot of value and you wouldn't want to miss out on it. Maybe you want to take some notes. You can also always screenshot it. And as I promised before, the replay will be available for the next 2 days. So if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat. And at the end of the whole class, I'm also gonna answer some questions. So yeah, if you have some of them, you can ask them there. You can ask them in the chat, and I will try to answer as many questions as possible. The class will take around 1 hour, and yeah, so as I said, you will be able to ask all your questions at the end. At the end of the course, of the class of today, I'm also gonna give you a special invite into the Dutch Mastery Academy. Some of you know this academy already, some of you maybe don't. I'm gonna explain everything at the end, and there will be an extra gift all at the end of this course. So before we dive in, I promise I'm gonna keep it short, but I want to introduce myself for those that do not know me yet or don't know really why I'm qualified to teach you this Dutch class today. So I'm Yasmine, or many know me as Yas. I always say it's Yas for the friends. I live in Antwerp in Belgium together with my roommates. I have 3-4 years of experience teaching Dutch, and I'm a certified teacher. And something you might want to know about me, I'm obsessed with plants, and I'm a fries lover. And as I see in the chat, someone responding, I used to hate language learning. And it's something so weird, because every time I tell someone I'm a Dutch teacher, but I didn't like learning languages myself, they tell me, but how is that possible? So let me tell you, when I was younger in Belgium, we are obligated to follow French classes. And the problem is we get so many French classes, but a lot of students, so a lot of Belgian students that end up graduating high school don't even end up being able to speak French. And it's such a huge problem. And for me, it was the case. And I was so frustrated because of that. Because in Belgium, it's important to know both languages because we're a bilingual, trilingual language country. And so for me, it was so important to be able to speak French. So after being so frustrated in school and getting classes with a lot of grammar rules, a lot of verb conjugations, a lot of things that weren't really helping me, I said goodbye to these old school language learning methods, and I moved to France to go and start improving my French by myself. And the crazy thing is, after implementing new different techniques, I was able to speak French in only 4 months. And I'm using this language right now. Also, I have French students that I teach Dutch, and it's like, it's a language that I use with ease. So it also gave me a lot of different kind of opportunities that I didn't have before. So for example, I can speak the language of my friends. I found a good job. I also did an internship in France and in French. I started working for TUI, so I had two languages that I knew, so I got a new job opportunity, and I stopped feeling like a tourist. So I started feeling at home in the country that I was living because I started to know that language. And so that was a little introduction about myself. And now we're going to dive into my 4 secret techniques for Dutch fluency. So today we're going to go over 4 techniques that you can use to master Dutch by yourself. Okay, let's have a look. You are in the right place here today if you are the same as Busra. So Busra joined the Dutch Mastery Academy and she told me I was fed up with all those traditional classroom-based learning styles. And therefore, she wanted to change her studying method and she was going to try with me for one more time. And she's been studying with the Dutch Mastery Academy for 4 months now. So she felt like those old school language learning methods that I had been following to learn French weren't helping her to master Dutch either. And she started studying with the Dutch Mastery Academy, and now she's feeling a lot more confident and she's a lot more able to start learning Dutch. So let's dive in. My first secret technique is don't learn the grammar rules by heart. And you're gonna say, okay, but Yasmine, how can I learn a language without learning the grammar rules? Let me explain it to you. So my question for you is, do you know the grammar rules in your mother tongue? Do you know, for example, if someone would ask you, why is this word put in that order in this sentence? Or how do you conjugate verbs or something like that? Do you know that? If you're not a language teacher, of course. I'm getting a reply from Bea. She says no. Okay. Some of you do. Okay. So most of the people don't know their grammar in their mother tongue. And some of them, I even saw a reply that someone uses bad grammar in their own mother tongue. So why should you be learning grammar rules by heart that in a new language if you don't even know it in your own mother tongue and you're able to speak your own mother tongue? That's why, for example, I'm going to be explaining a better way to learn grammar rules with, for example, die, deze, dit, dat. So in traditional language schools, they would be giving you a rule like this. So for example, de aanwijzende voornaamwoorden dit en dat verwijzen naar enkelvoudige het-woorden deze en die. En naar enkelvoudige de woorden en meervoudige woorden. Dit en dat kunnen ook naar een hele zin verwijzen. For me, this would be too long. If I would be reading this in French or in English or in any other language that I wanted to learn, I wouldn't understand anything. And then afterwards, they're asking you to fill in exercises like this. For example, het varken daar ligt, de beer je daar ziet lopen. Would you be able to fill in these 2 sentences? Give it a try. I'm not getting any reactions, so I think it might be a bit too difficult. Dat en die. Okay. Some of you are responding correctly, probably because you learned those rules already a while ago. Die daar ziet lopen. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I would say for students that, for example, are at an A1 and an A2 level or haven't learned these rules before is to simplify and visualize your grammar. So what do I mean with that? Instead of giving you a long text like this, we're going to change grammar learning to more visualized and simplified grammar learning. So for example, the way that I would go over this is that I would say there is the apple and het boek. So it's really important to have a look at the fact that you have the apple and het boek. Now, if you have a look at the apple, if you keep it close to you, it's going to be deze appel. If you're going to put it further away, it's going to be die appel. And then, if you're going to have a look at het boek, if you put the book closer to you, it's going to be dit boek. And if it's going to be further away from you, it is dat boek. So once again, with the words, it's gonna be deze appel, die appel. And with het words, it's gonna be dit boek and dat boek. So now I want you to try it for yourself. If you, for example, take a pen, the computer you're using, or for example, a paper, het papier, how are you gonna say, for example, if the pen is close to you? For example, if you say, I see this pen. Exactly, deze. And if you put it further away from you, exactly. So you're replying correctly. It's die pen, deze pen, die pen. And you can do the same with de computer and het papier. So do it for yourself for a second. Take your computer, take a paper, and try for yourself to put it closer to you and further away from you. And use the words. Is it helping you to learn it a bit easier? Okay, I see a lot of reactions that it's helping people. So this is the first part of secret number 1. Let's have a look at secret number 2. At the second part of secret number 1. That is, learn to create easy sentences. What do I mean with that? So, I got a reaction from one of my students, Ran, and she told me she'd been at week 3 of the Dutch Mastery Academy, and she said it had been helping her a lot because she had been trying multiple online courses before, and there wasn't any course that taught her how to create sentences from basic. And this is a big struggle for a lot of Dutch learners because a lot of Dutch learners in the beginning stages of their Dutch learning, they never learn how to create basic sentences. And what happens? They want to speak too much. So whenever they get the chance to have a conversation with someone, Dutch learners start to try and create a lot of difficult sentences, and they start speaking a lot, but a lot of those sentences don't really make any sense. Or, for example, what I wanted to say too is that now I lost my train of thought. That can happen. So the thing is, a lot of Dutch learners, they try to speak a lot from the beginning. And so the sentences that they make aren't making that much sense. And that's why in my courses, what we do is we start with basic sentences. So for example, we're gonna have a look at the present tense, the tegenwoordige tijd. This is the easiest tense. I'm making it the easiest tense for the B1, B2 levels. It could be, for example, the past tense or even the future tense, depending on your level. So the present tense, we're just going to conjugate this for us to learn how to create easy basic sentences. So we're going to work with the stem and the root. To create a present tense in Dutch, we need a stem or a root. How are we going to take this? We're going to start with the verb werken. And we're going to take away the en. So the easiest way to create a stem, the root of a verb, is to take away the en. Werk. That's our stem. And with this, we're going to work. So what are we going to do? We are going to add different kind of endings to this verb. So with the ik, when you're talking about yourself, it's just the stem. With jij, je, or u, which is formal, we're going to use stem plus t. Werkt. Voor hij, zij, someone else, we're going to use stem plus t too. Werkt. Hij werkt, zij werkt. En voor all the plurals, wij, jullie, zij, ze, we're just going to use the infinitive. I'm repeating this for the A1 students that don't know how to use the present tense yet, because we need it to conjugate to create our basic sentences. So what is going to happen in normal Dutch courses? They're going to give you exercises like this. They're going to give you a sentence, a gap, and they're going to give you the verb, werken. And you're going to have to conjugate the verb into that sentence. And I see a lot of you are responding already with the correct response, but I don't like these kind of exercises. And why not? Because this is not going to help you when you need to learn how to speak Dutch. Why? Because with those kind of exercises, you're only going to look at the first part of your sentence. You're not going to look at whatever is behind that sentence, so you're not going to be creating sentences by yourself. You're just gonna learn, okay, I see the ik, I know how to conjugate the werken for the ik, and that's it. So what we do into my courses is that we are going to create basic sentences. We're going to teach you from the beginning, from an A1 course, how to create easy basic sentences by yourself. How do we do this? So how do you practice creating basic sentences? The sentence structure of an easy sentence in Dutch is your subject, which is often a noun. For example, ik, jij, hij, zij, de jongen, for example, those kind of nouns you can use as a subject. You're gonna add a verb and a rest. And you're gonna keep it very, very easy and short. If you can do this at an A1 level, it's already very good. So, for example, if you have to create a sentence with werken. For example, ik is your noun, is your subject. Werk is conjugated to your subject, and you're gonna add a rest, vandaag. And suddenly you know how to say, I work today. Ik werk vandaag. Subject, verb, rest. So now I want you to try and create sentences with werken yourself. Keep them very, very easy. So I see, for example, that Bia already replied with ik werk niet zondag. Ik werk graag. Ik werk vandaag. Ik werk in Albert Heijn. Ik werk niet zo graag. Voilà, exactly. You're all sharing a lot of very easy sentences. Now try it again for drinken. So do the same again. You're gonna pick a subject. You're gonna conjugate the verb to the subject, and then you're gonna add a little bit of rest. Voilà, really good. I'm seeing a lot of good sentences. So for example, I would be creating sentences like ik drink water, jij drinkt thee, wij drinken ons glas leeg. Very easy sentences. For a lot of students, this might seem boring in the beginning. Like, okay, but these sentences are so easy. Yes, but if you don't start with the basics, the sentence structure in Dutch is so hard that if you don't start with this, it's going to be so difficult in the end to create harder sentences. I'm gonna explain you later why. There's one last verb that I want you to try with, and it's dansen. So once again, take a subject, conjugate the verb dansen, and put a small rest behind it. There's some people trying out some more difficult sentences already. That's not what I was asking for. So once again, subject, verb, and then the rest. Really easy. Ik, jij, wij, verb, rest. Awesome. So if you've shared your sentences in the chat, then I'm going to share my sentences with you, which is, for example, ik dans graag, jij danst goed, en wij dansen vaak. Very easy sentences. So why do we do this exercise? This exercise makes sure you know how to put verbs into a context. If you had to look at the previous exercise, you didn't know how to put these verbs in a context. And it makes learning sentences structures a lot easier. So this is something, for example, that I did with Bruna. Bruna came to me. She was trying to pass her speaking exam. She didn't pass it in June after following a course with another school. And after following classes with me, doing this exact exercise, we made it so much easier for her, so much less stressful for her to do her speaking exam, and she passed. Okay. And the second part is that you should be mastering the tenses. So once you've mastered your basic sentences, it's time to start mastering your tenses. Why? Because you don't want to keep on sounding like Tarzan, for example. Yesterday, I go to supermarket. No, you want to be able to be speaking in the future, in the past, and in the present. And this is, for example, for the A2 to B1 and B2 students, very important. Because if you, for example, know how to say I like cats, ik vind katten leuk in the present tense, and you learn how to conjugate your verb in the past tense too, you're going to be able to say, you're going to be able to say I used to like cats in the past tense too. So by knowing how to create those easy basic sentences and then adding verb conjugations, you're going to be able, and adding verb tenses, you're going to be able to say so much more. So these are the two things that you should be really focusing on: basic sentences and verb tenses. And for the B1, B2 students, this will make sentence structures so much easier, because if you want to say sentences such as I used to like cats until one bit me, you're gonna be able to create these sentences with ik vond katten leuk. That was your basic sentence that you learned to create. You have a word that you're gonna use to put these two words together. Totdat een mij beet. And just by adding that, you're going to be able to create a lot more difficult sentences. Okay, that was secret number 1. Now we're going to go on to secret number 2. We have 3 more to go. My secret number Number two is that you shouldn't be studying vocabulary. And now you're gonna say, but Yasmine, I shouldn't be studying grammar rules. I shouldn't be studying vocabulary. What should I be studying? Let me explain. You should stop learning random words. You should start learning with visuals, and you should start using spaced repetition. So what do I mean with that? A student a while ago came to me and she asked me, how do I say a group of dolphins in Dutch? Apparently, she had to learn this word for her Dutch classes. And she asked me, like, how do you say it? And apparently, it's een school dolfijn. I had never heard from it before. And I told her, for me, that wouldn't be too important to learn. But a big problem with a lot of Dutch learners and a lot of Dutch courses is that you get a long list of different kind of vocabulary around the theme, with most of the vocabulary you're never going to be using. Then my second tip is that you should be learning with visuals. So a lot of students, as I said before, get a long list, often with translations into their own mother tongue or into English, and then it's going to say moeder, mother. The problem with that is if you're learning with translations, you're gonna be thinking about, for example, if someone asks you how to say mother in Dutch, it's gonna take you a longer while to process, oh yeah, it is moeder. If I'm not saying something right now, if you're going to see that picture, you're immediately going to be thinking about moeder en kind. So you're gonna create different combinations in your head that are gonna be so much more faster when you have to be speaking Dutch. So this will help you to be able to remember vocabulary more easily when having to speak Dutch, and it's going to create better connections than when you're translating. So whenever you learn new vocabulary, try to visualize it all the time. How do we do this in our Dutch Mastery Academy? There is a 200-page vocabulary book, just like you see here, with a lot of visualizations. So we visualize, we don't translate, we visualize everything. And I have a little gift for you because the next two slides are a part of this vocabulary book and you can screenshot them. So I'm going to go over to the first page. If you want to screenshot it now, and then I will go to the second one. So I hope you've screenshotted it. Okay, then I will go to the second page. So this is a part of our 200 vocabulary book with visualization. So this is only the first couple of pages. There are so many more pages with over 5,000 words of Dutch vocabulary. If you screenshotted it, I will go on to the next slide. And then my last tip is to use spaced repetition. Did you know that your brain can actually only learn and absorb 7 new words a day? What does that mean? That means that if you are in a 1-hour class or a 2-hour class and you're learning more than 30 words, more than 30 new vocabulary words, you're not going to absorb all of them. And a big problem with a lot of Dutch courses, and sometimes what Dutch students do, is that they want to study for 3 hours long. You're going to get in those 3 hours new grammar rules, you're going to get new vocabulary, and then they're going to ask you to do exercises right away. And this is something that will overload your brain, and that is the reason why a lot of Dutch words do not stick into your brain. It's kind of the same as going to the gym. If you go to the gym on Monday and you're going to train your arm muscles, you're not going to expect that you're going to be like Popeye after the first time training your muscles. No, you're going to the gym on Monday, you're going to take a rest day, And then you're going to go to the gym on Wednesday again, and you're going to train your arm muscles again. With repetition, with spaced repetition, it's going to be a lot easier to master the language. And this is all done for you within the Dutch Mastery Academy. So within the Dutch Mastery Academy, we're not going to teach you random words. We're going to help you learn with visuals with the 200-page vocabulary book, and you're going to be able to use spaced repetition. More about the last part later too. And this is, for example, what my students are saying about these techniques. For example, Mariana, she sent me an email a couple of weeks ago, and she told me she's still loving the classes after following the Dutch Mastery Academy for 2 months. And she said she's improving faster than her husband, who is taking conventional private lessons. So she's moving faster with the Dutch Mastery Academy than someone who is taking private classes. And for example, Senna, I loved her message. She told me my website and videos are the best that she has ever seen. She's feeling so motivated to study Dutch. I'm gonna take a really small break to just take a sip of water, and then I'm gonna continue. I also see questions about the book. It is available. I will give you an opportunity later to ask for it, then I will respond in the chat, but that I will tell you later. First, I want to continue with sharing my secret technique number 3. And this secret technique is that you have to start speaking quickly. And of course, this is a technique that you have to follow. A lot of people know it, but a lot of people tell me, but I don't have a speaking partner. And the thing is, for the first levels, until even a B1, you actually don't really need a speaking partner. This is a belief a lot of students have, but it's not really necessary. And I'm gonna tell you why. So a lot of people tell me I can read and write very well, but I cannot speak. And this is really a big problem for a lot of Dutch learners. And this is something I try to tackle, and I am tackling within the Dutch Mastery Academy with the techniques that I will teach you now. My advice is that you will not become fluent in a language if you do not speak it. So a lot of Dutch courses, a lot of Dutch learners, they learn in silence. They don't really get the chance to speak a lot, maybe 5 minutes each class, and they never really get the chance to speak. But let me tell you, I know this is a very difficult English sentence, but I'm gonna make it easier for you afterwards. The production effect is the difference in memory, favoring the word read aloud relative to words read silently during study. What does that mean? If you are going to study Dutch, whatever you're doing, do it out loud. So everything that you are learning, you have to read out loud. And this is something we do in our academy too, in our Dutch courses too. I tell my students a lot, repeat this out loud, do this out loud, read this text together with me all the time. So you don't really need a speaking partner, because you can already learn a big part of the speaking process out loud. So by learning out loud. So learn out loud as much as possible and practice your speaking skills with speak by yourself exercises. What is that? First, I'm going to share a message from Francesca, who said that my courses are the right push that she needed to unblock her speaking skills. So Francesca joined my course at an A1 level. I actually believed she had an A2 level already, but she really loved joining the A1 again because she had so many opportunities to unblock her speaking. And that's what I find so important. So what are speak by yourself exercises? Today I'm going to share one with you, and it's the JAM method. It's one of my favorite speak by yourself exercises because it's also a lot of repetition. Because what does the JAM method mean? It means just a minute. So what are you going to do with the gem method? It consists of 3 rounds, and you're going to be picking a team. So for example, for today, I'm going to be picking the team reizen. What are we going to do? In round 1, you're going to be talking 1 minute about traveling, reizen, in Dutch, without taking any notes. So you're going to start speaking about, for example, ik reis graag, ik reis vaak, ik ben vorig jaar naar Praag geweest. And you're going to be speaking with the vocabulary that you learned for 1 minute. The rule is you're not gonna stop talking. You're gonna keep on trying to speak in Dutch. Whatever you're saying, you're just gonna say it. You're gonna take a couple of notes, for example, words that you didn't know, sentences that you didn't know how to create. And after that minute, so you put on a timer, after that minute, you go on Google and you try to translate all those words. You try to visualize all these words, as I just said before, and you're gonna write them down. For the second round, you're gonna be allowed to make a couple of notes. So just for example, if I would be doing this exercise, I would be writing down mijn moeder, Praag, mijn vader, skiën, mijn zus, Canada. A couple of notes and the things that you translated so that you know it. And then for another minute, you're going to be speaking once again about the same things that you spoke about before. You're gonna practice speaking about this before. And you're gonna realize, you're gonna feel that you're gonna be able to speak much longer and with a lot more ease about the subjects. And then for the last part, you can take a couple of extra notes. So for example, I would be adding to my mother stedentrip, my dad elk jaar, en mijn zus volgende zomer. So we're adding a couple more notes, we're translating a bit more vocabulary, we're learning a bit more, and then once again, you're going to be speaking for 1 minute about the same subject. And by doing this, by doing these 3 exercises, by doing these 3 minutes, by speaking these 3 minutes Dutch, you're gonna feel a lot more confident talking about reizen. And this is what we do every time after a different subject is introduced into the academy. We try to use the vocabulary, the grammar that you learned into a gem method or another speak by yourself exercise. And this is, just gonna check. Yep. And this is what one of my students had to say about her experience with our Speak by Yourself exercises and the academy.
Ik ben Gabi, ik kom uit Brazilië en mijn vriend zijn Nederland. Ik spreek Portugees, Engels en een beetje Nederlands. En ik hou van Yasmine lessons. That's all. I've been learning Dutch for over a month and I've practiced a lot with Duolingo before, but I was never able to create some sentences and feel that comfortable on sharing my thoughts and ideas in Dutch. Since I've joined DMA, I've started practicing every day for at least 30 minutes according to Yasmin's instructions, and it was fantastic. It's really good. The course is really well paced, the lessons are short, straight to the point, and also makes me feel motivated to learn Dutch every day. Thank you very much, Yasmine, for putting together such a great course.
So this was a video that I got from Gabby around 2-3 weeks ago. And yeah, she's been studying with the academy for 4 weeks now. And this is how confident she started to feel. And that's just something that makes me so happy because I've been able to help Gabby to gain her confidence, because before she was studying with Duolingo and it didn't do that much for her. And then after a month, she was able to really get more confident when speaking Dutch. she made a nice progress in just a month. It's crazy. Sometimes I get students from other schools coming to me and I see the big difference in their skills. So another part of the start to speak immediately is that you should be improving your pronunciation. And I'm sure a lot of you are going to love this part because within the academy, we use the pronunciation triangle. What is this? This is a triangle that helps you to understand how your mouth should feel when pronouncing difficult sounds. And I know a lot of students have a big difficulty with the difference between the U and the U. I know we're using a word here that I shouldn't be using, but for the purpose of this exercise, we're gonna use it. So we're gonna practice the U and the U, the difference between the U and the U. So we're gonna start with the E and the U sound. We're gonna start with pronouncing them. Why? Because they're closer to each other, but the only difference is that your lips are not rounded and rounded. So the E sound, you're gonna pull your lips back, you're gonna push your tongue against your bottom teeth, and your tongue is gonna be in the front, and your mouth is gonna be a bit closed. E. So try to do it yourself. E. Then if you want to go to the U sound, it's going to be the total same pronunciation, but it's going to be your lips rounded. U. E. U. And you're going to feel when you're doing this that the only thing changing are your lips. E. U. So now that you know how to pronounce the E and the U, let's go over the U. The difference with the U is that your tongue will be in the back. So you're gonna be pulling your tongue back. Your lips are also rounded and your mouth is gonna be closed. U. U. So you have to try it and feel that your tongue is going to be pulled back. U. And once you know that, you can easily pronounce the difference between the U, I, U, U. I, U, U. And once you've tried that a couple of times, you're gonna be a lot more able to pronounce the hier, huur, hoer. I know I shouldn't have pronounced that word, but for the sake of this exercise, let's try it a couple of times. So, before I share my secret technique number 4 with you, do you have any questions? You can ask them in the chat. I'm gonna have a look at the chat and then we're gonna continue with number 4. So Ryan, we don't have that much time anymore, but if you want to go back to that pronunciation triangle, I will be sharing the replay and then you can go over it again. The course, every level takes 13 weeks, but I'm gonna share more about that later. So it depends all on your level. I see that there are a lot of questions about how different is Dutch spoken in the Netherlands versus Belgium. That's my only concern so far. Well, there is a different accent, as if there's a big, there is a big difference between, for example, West Flanders and Groningen and the south of the Netherlands. And every different kind of region has a different kind of accent. So there is always a big difference between the accents too. Okay, I'm going to be sharing something more about my secret strategy number 4 because I'm seeing a lot of course questions. But first and for all, I want to ask you to think for yourself a little bit. Why did you sign up for this training? What is the reason that you joined here? Why do you want to learn Dutch? What is the reason that you want to master Dutch? Because what I believe that the reason is that you want to master Dutch and that you took action to be here is because you, of course, want to learn Dutch. And why? Because you are, just like I was, done feeling like a tourist in your own country. You also want to stop feeling left out when, for example, your Dutch colleagues or the family of your partner, or maybe even your own children are speaking Dutch. And maybe you also want to stop being rejected for a new job, for example, or yeah, something like that, for new opportunities because you don't speak Dutch well enough. So you want to feel at home in the Netherlands or in Belgium. So at this point, you have two options. You can keep on trying things on your own for another year or more, or you can decide that now is your time and join the fast track to fluency. So, because do you want to be the confused expat who will always have to ask to switch to English, or the integrated expat who knows even more Dutch than natives do? These are two of my students that chose to be the integrated expat, and they're happy that they did. Because, for example, I'm introducing Mohammed to you. Mohammed is living in Amsterdam. He moved to the Netherlands for work, and he's one of my one-on-one students. So he follows a part of the Dutch Master Academy, and he follows one-on-one classes with me. And he says the pace of the sessions are excellent. He's able to grasp grammar with clarity, and he loves each session with me. It's also very appropriate to his schedule. He's a very busy guy. Sometimes he tells me I'm traveling there, I'm traveling there, I'm traveling there, and we still manage to practice Dutch together. He also told me that after following classes with me, he's a lot more comfortable when pronouncing words. Oop. Where am I now? Nope. So I wanted to be speaking about Isabel too. Isabel is a student who's been following the Dutch Mastery Academy, and she said after following the A1 course with me, she's able to have small conversations with friends. She's so happy she's gonna continue with the A2. I love it because she's a very nice student. And she said that she tried it before with Bubble, and she just said it's better to join DMA. You will not regret it. She's like, I wasted so much time on free apps and everything. DMA, it's what works for me. She said she didn't dare to speak Dutch before, and she felt like she was making mistakes and she was sounding ridiculous. So I encouraged her to keep on trying in a very positive way. I encouraged her to keep on speaking. And now she's having small conversations with friends. She's also learning Dutch for her Belgian partner. And I'm sure they're loving this experience together. And what I found most important is that my classes aren't like boring textbooks. This is so important for me because I want to make learning Dutch fun. So, as you might have seen already, my secret technique number 4 is follow my Dutch courses. So I'm gonna share everything about our group classes and all the information for that right now. You are invited into the Dutch Master Academy and our A1, A2 group classes, or our B1, B2 conversation classes. So depending on your current level, you're invited in the A1, A2s or the B1, B2s. What is the difference? So you can join at every level. The A1, A2 level. What is this gonna be? These are going to be group classes together with a self-paced course. So with the Dutch Master Academy that you've been seeing words about for the whole class. In the self-paced course that you can follow at your own rate, you will get videos with grammar explanations, new vocabulary, and exercises. There are 13 weeks per level of video content. And then every week at a set hour, you're gonna meet up with a Dutch teacher and you're gonna practice with this Dutch teacher. So as I said before, with the spaced repetition, You're going to be learning all the grammar and vocabulary at your own time. It's going to be allowing you to absorb all the new information, and then you're going to be able to practice it with a Dutch teacher. These are the groups of the A1 classes. So if you want to join the group classes, these are the hours that you are going to be able to join. I will share them later too. Which level should you join? So from the A1 or the A2 level, which level should you join? The A1 level is for those who have no experience learning Dutch. You've maybe studied a bit with Duolingo before, or you cannot really introduce yourself in Dutch yet. It's really for those who want to build a good foundation. The A2 level is really for students that already have followed an A1 course before, you have passed the inburgering exam, and you're able to use the present tense with ease. So those are the A1 and A2 levels. Why did I create a course like this? Because as I said, you can watch the videos at your own pace. This will help you to really absorb the grammar and vocabulary with ease. You can go faster and rewatch them, or you can go a bit slower. It gives your brain the time to absorb new vocabulary and grammar, the spaced repetition. And it's one of the only Dutch courses where you get the chance to speak interactively with a Dutch teacher already at an A1 and A2 level. We're not going to work with prepared dialogues or presentations you have to learn by heart. We're going to let you try to speak by yourself. The B1, B2 students. So I'm going to share the link in a minute. The B1, B2 students can join our conversation classes. You're gonna get a chance to speak Dutch. Our Dutch teachers are going to correct your grammar, and you're gonna learn to talk about different subjects. It's going to help you to become confident when speaking Dutch. A while ago, I had a conversation with Sepide. She's one of my B1 students, and I told her about these classes, and I told her, what we're going to do is we're going to give you the chance to speak, and we're going to improve your speaking. We're going to improve your confidence, because in any Dutch course, you've never really had the chance to start creating sentences by yourself. It's a lot prepare presentations or talk about this story, but then you are going to translate it. And this is really going to help you in 13 weeks. So it's 13 weeks as well to prepare yourself for speaking Dutch with natives. And you're also going to get access to a 13-week self-paced course where you can practice your reading, listening, writing, and speaking skills. And you're going to get feedback on it. So when you sign up for the B1, B2 conversation classes, you're also going to be able to practice all these skills too and get feedback from Dutch teachers. These are the hours of the B1, B2 classes. If you want to revisit those hours, they will also be present in the link that I will send you. So by the end of the Dutch Mastery Academy, the course that you will be following, you will be able to have conversations with Dutch natives without feeling stressed. You're going to feel more comfortable. Even if you're still making a mistake or two, you're going to be feeling comfortable to having those conversations. And you're going to have the confidence to speak Dutch, even if you're still making a mistake or two. And maybe you're going to be able, well, you will be able to crack a joke in Dutch, so everyone finally knows how funny you actually are. But most importantly, you'll feel at home in your new home country. So I'm going to be sharing the link to join the A1A2 course or the B1B2 course right now in the chat. So you can find it in the chat now. Click on the link for your level. And I have a surprise for you. So for those who love the pronunciation triangle and love the pronunciation exercise that we did in my Dutch courses, if you sign up within the next 48 hours, you're also going to get access to the pronunciation triangle and me explaining all the difficult sounds in Dutch. So as you can see, there is an extra pronunciation course that you will only get if you sign up for these courses within the next 48 hours. We're gonna go over the pronunciation triangle again, long and short vowels, the two consonants, the two vowels, every difficult sound that you have in Dutch, we are going to practice if you sign up within the next 48 hours. So once again, the link to the classes is in the chat right now. If you want to go there, you can find it. So I introduced to you a couple of teachers because the group classes are also taught by some of my co-teachers and I want you to know who they are. My co-teachers are from Belgium, of course, me. We have Laura on the right. She's been teaching my Dutch Mastery Academy group classes for a long time already, and she's doing amazing. I love her. And we have Stephanie. She's taking care of some private classes already, and she will be also taking care of the A1, A2 classes. This is what a couple of my students, for example, have said about Laura and Stephanie. For example, Yi said about Laura that she's an amazing coach. She's always encouraging her to speak spontaneous and that she never should be scared to be speaking Dutch. And this is what we want to reach within our courses. They also said, for example, that Stephanie is an amazing tutor. She is very prepared and she's very open-minded. This is what we want within the course. Then we have our Dutch teachers. We have Flor, Romy, and Eska. These are my three teachers that are going to help me with the A1, A2, and B1, B2 classes. They are also so amazing. So a lot of students have, for example, said that Flor is very patient. She's a considered teacher. Eske has helped a lot with speaking practice. And this is exactly what I wanted from my teachers. So I didn't just take anyone in my team. I really wanted them to understand the techniques that I was using, that they are able to give as much quality to you as I am able to give to you. And this was one time before I did conversation classes with Ingrid and Aisha and a couple more B1B students. And this is what they said about the conversation classes. The recommendation, the review from Ingrid is in Dutch. You can read it very quickly. She said the lessons were very fun. They were very dynamic. And it was really easy to work with me. I give a lot of tips to her that helped her to really improve her Dutch. And Aisha said the same. She would recommend these B1, B2 classes for everyone who's looking to level up their speaking skills in Dutch.
Hi everyone, my name is Eva and I'm a student with Yasmine. I'm currently doing the A0 to A1 Dutch course for about 2 months. Basically, I was looking for more structure to my Dutch learning and just building up my vocabulary and learning more about grammar. And this is what Yasmine exactly does. Her course is very structured. And yeah, this is what I was looking for, something that I can do at my own pace, at my own time, but also have access to a teacher that I can check in with. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the course so far. We had 2 check-ins with Yasmine. I feel I'm already improving. I'm making small sentences already. I'm building my vocabulary. Her examples are really good. The course is really interesting and you can go at your own pace. And yeah, already see improvements on my Dutch.
So this was, for example, what Eva was saying about my courses. She was a student in November, December. She was following my self-paced course and she was studying Dutch for her Dutch husband because she also got a son now. So she's probably, she's continuing her Dutch studies to improve her Dutch for her son. And that's so amazing. So once again, you're invited into the Dutch Mastery Academy. And into that academy, we also have a platform. So this platform is a community with other Dutch learners. We have a Dutch chat. We have a step-by-step program. There's a lot within this platform. And that is, for example, we use weekly structures. So a lot of expats come to me and they tell me, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to study. And the biggest reason why a lot of people are too busy to learn Dutch is because they don't have a good structure. So what I created within the academy is a weekly structure so that you know exactly what you have to study each week. And so if you put for yourself in your agenda, this week I need to finish these videos at these hours, I'm guaranteeing you you're going to do it and you're going to be able to finish these lessons because it's not one module that you just get thrown at you, it's structured. There will also be a lot of Dutch resources. So if you join the 1A1 to B2 courses, you will also get access to the vocabulary book, and you will also get access to Dutch songs, podcast recommendations, everything that are resources. You're never going to have to be looking for them by yourself again because I will be sharing them with you. And as I said, there will be a community. So there is a Dutch chat. You can ask your questions, for example, in the Ask the Community place. When you sign up, you're going to see that a lot of my students have been doing that already, and they get feedback from Dutch teachers. So you're not going to be feeling alone anymore. You're going to be able to study Dutch with a lot of other people and with Dutch teachers. So once again, yeah, so as what you said, you cannot, as what someone said in the chat, some people cannot concentrate for such a long time. And that's what Gabby said too. She's been able to study Dutch for 30 minutes a day, and it's motivating her and it's helping her a lot to improve her Dutch. Derya, if you don't know exactly what your Dutch level is, send me a message to Yasmine at Learn Dutch with Yas, and I will help you figure out what your Dutch level is, so which course you should be joining. I will be also sharing the links again because I think some of them are sometimes disappearing. And so, for example, about our group classes, Francesca also said to Lara, the classes were so useful, very practical. And then, for example, Derek said he's very shy to speak in Dutch, but those classes are making it easier for him. So once again, if you join within the next 48 hours, you're gonna get access to my pronunciation courses. It's gonna help you to improve your pronunciation. It's going to help you a lot. And then if there are any questions left, I went a bit over the time, but tell me, so Bea, you're asking me about the certificates and official text test. Send me a message to Learn Dutch with Yas, and we will talk about that one. And yeah, any tips about writing? As I said in the course, we will be doing a lot of writing exercises. So in there, you will be for sure able to practice your writing skills a lot. I share a lot of tips within the academy. Are there any other questions? I would love to answer them. So okay, well, I see that there are not that many questions anymore. So thank you so much for being here. Bedankt om hier te zijn. I would love to be able to accept you all into my courses. There are limited spaces, of course, because we have group classes. So as I said to you, if you sign up within the next 48 hours, you will be getting the pronunciation course and you'll be able to join. You will also get a link with the replay of this class and your invitation into the course. And then, yeah, if there are any other questions left, please let me know or send me a message, send me an email or send me a message via Instagram. And then, yeah, talk to you soon.